So today I was going to talk about finding your moral compass, not only for your business, but for your life. And I think what happens often is in dealing with situations, we compartmentalize. And so I'm going to back up a little bit because part of what we're seeing happening is old business models are collapsing. And part of what that is it's the old way of leadership. I'm sure I'm talking to the choir here, but the old way of leadership has come from a very masculine paradigm where there's a top and then everything funnels down to the bottom, and the people on the bottom are the ones that are the working force, right? And we're moving into a more feminine model of leadership. A couple people talked about leadership today, where it really is about collaboration, cooperation, and connection. And that is a more circular kind of way of leading, not your own business, but also then in participating with others in business. And that's part of what eWomen does, I think. So part of what the old paradigm, the patriarchal masculine paradigm is, it's a very divisive, has been, we've been watching this, right? Divisive paradigm, which says, I'm top dog, you're not, us versus them, black versus white thinking, you know. It creates a lot of duality and contentiousness. And the whole thing is about, or it was, right? We get to see that this is starting to really fall apart. The whole thing was based on what got us to civilization now. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I want to support all of you, each of us as entrepreneurs, to move out of this quarantine when the time happens into a full embodiment within ourselves of who we are. So that's why I came up with this workshop, Your Moral Compass, Finding Your Moral Compass. And the way it happened, I'll just share briefly, is I was going through divorce. Anybody else going through divorce? Having gone through divorce? Yeah. Going through divorce, and I was in yet another lawyer's office and trying to figure out what I was going to do next with what was going on. And on his wall, he had a compass. And I thought, wow, you know, and it was like, it looked a lot like that, right? And he said, well, that's my moral compass. So I was like, oh, really? And me being a spiritual teacher and guide, I was like, tell me more. And he said, yeah, but there's only 2 points on that compass. I said, really? Because that compass had 8 points. And he said, yeah, there's right and there's wrong. And I was like, oh my God, how limiting is that, you know? And again, it just was like the good versus the bad and right and wrong. And so I went home and I was thinking about this, and I'm like, there's so many other points on that compass that this guy is missing that he could bring into his business instead of just being right or wrong, you know, that he could help his clients come out of divorce healthier mentally and emotionally than when they came in. So I played around with that, and I began to ask myself questions of, okay, so what's my moral compass? What would it look like? And so I'm big on mind mapping. Do you guys know mind mapping? Okay. Yeah, so mind mapping is always, for me, it gets me out of my linear thinking and into a more open heart space and mental space of what are the possibilities that my small little mind and the chatter in the back of my brain is saying, you can't do that, or that won't work, or whatever. And so in the process of mind mapping, and I'll share, this is what my mind map looked like. And actually it went on to another page. But I discovered really kind of the truth of what my personal moral compass is. So before we go further, I want you guys to do 2 things. You know, hopefully everybody has some paper. I would like you to list 3 to 5 things that you're currently experiencing that are maybe dragging you off center. whether it's fear about this virus or worry about family members, but write down 3 to 5 things. And then what I'd like you to do is, on the other side of that paper, I'd like you to write down 3 to 5 things of what you would like to see happen. If you were to flip one of those fear-based maybe or worry-based things, what would you flip it to? Right? So like for me, my parents are both very elderly. They have been in quarantine, self-quarantine from the beginning. And my fear is that they will never experience freedom again. So out of that fear, I would love to see them have freedom of movement, of choice once again, as they're coming, closer to their end game. So what would you flip of those few things that you've just listed? This is kind of getting your juices ready for your moral compass. And I'm curious, does anybody want to share one of those flips that's kind of an aha, since we have an intimate group here?
You can feel free to unmute yourself if you want to share something.
Well, I'd say something similar, Susan. I don't have my parents anymore, but I do have 2 granddaughters, and one with my son and daughter, and one lives local, but I still haven't seen her because of staying quarantine. And the other one lives in New York. So besides the fear of them being in the epicenter, the last 4 months, I've traveled every month to see that new granddaughter, and obviously haven't been able to. So it's obviously the fact that I want everything to open up again so that we can all have that freedom to go where we would like to go.
Right. So thank you for sharing that, Lori, because that is really part of what many of us may find is part of our moral compass. Okay. So now when I say moral compass, I'm not talking about like, if you were brought up in any kind of organized religion and went to Sunday school or whatever it was. I'm talking about what is it within you that really drives you, that really is the thing that you want. Because here's the thing. I mentioned earlier about compartmentalizing. When we put things in compartments, right, little cubby holes or whatever, we keep things separate. And the way that the universe works and what we're getting to witness now as everybody is beginning to kind of wake up in their independent space of living is that we're all connected. Just like on the Zoom call, we're not in the same room, but we're all connected right now energetically. And we can be connected emotionally. It's what Lori Wilson was talking about. There's some emotionality, right, that connects us. And so in creating what it is we want our moral compass to be for our business as well as for ourselves, it will keep us more focused on those points. These I actually call these points of light within us, right? And so these points, if I can stay focused on what my compass is, then I'm not going to get distracted with people I don't want to be in business with. I'm not going to get distracted with people I don't want to be in relationship with. I heard somebody talking about, being in a space of like-mindedness with eWomen. So the qualities of you're going to find, we're going to do a little mind mapping right now, are for you to find what you value. And now how I would define that are kind of intangibles, okay? Like creativity or freedom, since we've already talked about freedom. It could be, for me, one of the big components on my compass, and it's been since I was a little kid, is integrity. And I know, and that means I hold myself to a high standard of integrity, you know, which means I really attempt to not lie, you know, even a white lie. If I've done something that has harmed somebody mentally or emotionally, I own it and step up and apologize, you know, all those kinds of things. Integrity also has another, I'm just going to give you guys this, has another meaning to it. And it's about, well, okay, so I have something I'd like to read to you guys, okay? And it's from a book called The Gentle Art of Blessing by Pierre Prada. Anybody heard of him? Great book. It's a great book. In it, he defines integrity. So if you'll just bear with me. Integrity is a quality of being. It is holding on to that which you know to be your highest sense of truth and vision at all times, whatever the cost. It is resonating with that deepest fiber of your being, which urges you to peacefully, but firmly hold your ground, whatever the supposed prestige of the authority or person opposing you, not out of stubbornness, but prompted by the quiet daring of that inner urge in you, which says, to thine own self be true. It's refusing to water yourself down, your inner sense of truthfulness, even to satisfy, appease, or gain the approval of a loved one. Above all, integrity means refusing to cheat yourself, lie to yourself, or abide in the doubtful shadows of half-truths. Now, for me, that really resonates. So integrity is on my moral compass. There's other things like love. Do you want to be an entrepreneur that fills her business with love first and then attracts those clients or people because you are already radiating that love? Do you want to be compassionate? There's several women on this call that are highly compassionate with what you all have shared in terms of what you're doing. So these are qualities: creativity, happiness, compassion, love, peace, freedom, abundance is a quality, things like that. So what I'd like you to do right now is, on another piece of paper, you can flip over what you just wrote, what you're feeling or worrying about and what you want to flip it to. I want you to do a mind map, which looks, anybody not done mind mapping? Okay, so it looks like this. Here we go. I should have had this. All right. So it looks like this. What you do is you're going to write down in the center of your paper, you're going to create, hold on, I'm losing my papers here. Okay, so you're going to create a circle in the center. And in the center of that circle, you're going to write my moral compass. Okay, and this is a non-linear exercise for some of these you guys that are in finance. Sometimes it might be hard to jump into the non-linear. Okay, so what you're going to do then is riff off of this circle. You're going to draw spokes and see if you can list however many qualities, just like that, you want to have in your business or your life. Qualities that you maybe already have, like say love, compassion, okay? And then off of these other little bubbles, what does that mean to you? What does that bring into your business if you're compassionate? Right? What are those qualities going to resonate? If you're being loved, what is that going to bring into your business? You know, like Patty, I know because of the work you do, you probably have to ground yourself in love a lot to work with your clients. And how does that then radiate out to your clients? How does that being love or creative or allowing freedom to lead you, how does that help support your clients? And those are the other little bubbles, okay? So I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to do that. without, you know, don't let your mind think, just have fun with this. This is a fun exercise. And you might find as you're doing this mind mapping exercise, like I said earlier, one quality might lead to another quality, and why they may look or feel similar or the same, you might find that they're actually different qualities that you use in all areas of your life. Does anybody feel stuck? Okay. So I'm going to just give you another 30 seconds because this is something you can play with after our meeting if you want. So I'll just share with you off of my mind map when I did this. So one of the qualities, like I said, was integrity. I'm pointing to it. I don't know if you can see it, but that's okay. Was integrity. And off of integrity, there was compassion. So that became the two different qualities I added to my compass. And part of that is an exercise is my practice when I work with clients, which is deep listening. So to have integrity as I listen deeply to my client and have compassion, non-judgment, right? Another thing was about, let's see, what's another one that's appropriate? I wanted to have resolution for my clients, you know, helping individuals really have sustained transformation. And so that meant I had to become creative, you know, in my thinking, and I had to really listen intuitively to what was really being needed. Because I'm sure you all are aware, a client sits in front of you and starts their story, and it's hard to figure out what it is they really want because they're so attached to their story. So wanting to find resolution brought me into creative thinking and listening to my intuition. Do these examples help you guys? Yeah. Okay, so for me, and if you guys want to share, if you printed up the handout, you can start to, you might want to start putting some things on your compass, but I'm going to share with you what mine are because I think it kind of helps people to understand that it's a deeper quality than just something coming out of our brain. So like I said, for me, integrity, it's at the top. It's my true north, right? Integrity is my foundation. But also then, as I was mind mapping, I was like, well, truth is important to me. And what is truth? And so I had to really kind of play around with what is truth. And what I found for me, and you guys might find something different, is that, and this comes from working with so many different clients and being a spiritual teacher, that truth, while there's an ultimate truth that we all, I think, agree on, like do not harm other people, that kind of stuff, there's a unique individual truth. And to be able to understand that the two may become one or they may not. And to really understand that when you're working with clients, what my truth is not necessarily the truth for my client, right? And it's not for me to push my truth on. It's for me, like I said earlier, to listen deeply to what is their truth, and then begin to tease that out of them and celebrate that with them so they can recognize, oh, that's who I am. That's why I need to stand up and say what I think. Another one was love, like I said, and love for myself first. Because if I can't love myself and respect myself, then the clients that come to me are never going to learn how to do that either. And so love and respect is one of the centerpieces of my business. And when I was talking earlier about the old paradigm, which is like a pyramid top down, it has become this circle, right? When my team, when we have team meetings, everybody sits on the circle. Everybody's honored. I honor everybody for the work that they bring, whether it's the graphic artist or the guy that's doing my social media and editing my podcast, or my assistant who's multitasking for me and with me. And everybody gets to share. Everybody gets to collaborate on my team circle, because nobody's small, right? If we're all equal and connected, this is my truth. If we're all one, then each person brings something unique that I can't see. And I'll tell you, I've been so surprised when I lead from that place of a circular vision. So that creates generosity, right? Of spirit. Generosity is on my compass, because I want to be generous, not just of spirit, of love flowing from me to my team members, because I know that then they go out into their businesses, because they all have their own businesses too, right? And that ripples out, the generosity of spirit. And it also is important to me, doesn't have to be for you guys, but it's important to me that that generosity then gets translated into dollar amounts. That's part of my integrity. I donate to 5 different nonprofits every year, because that's just part of my integrity, my makeup. Another one is happiness. Happiness, because when I didn't know myself, when I didn't love myself, when I was going through divorce, I was not happy. And so going through divorce, I knew I wanted to have freedom and happiness and love. And so happiness is now, and if I had done this, I don't know, 10 years ago, I don't know that happiness would have been on my compass. And therefore it goes into my business, right? If we're not having fun, if it's not making people happy on my team, then, and if it's certainly not making me happy, then I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. Are you following what I'm saying now? Okay. So integrity, truth, love, compassion, freedom, creativity, happiness, and generosity. That's what's on my moral compass now. And I have this posted in my office for the days where I run into somebody that wants to take advantage of me, or where I'm getting stuck in, how do you do this virtual share the room and the mic thing, or whatever it is. And I look at my moral compass and I remind myself, yes, I am these things already, because all these qualities that you guys are teasing out right now, they already exist within you. So you don't have to go outside and go, okay, where am I going to find truth? Or where am I going to find happiness? That's one thing we're learning from this quarantine, I hope, is there's nothing outside of us that we need to go get, because each of us are unique and divine emanations of whatever you want to call it. And when we come to terms within ourselves of this is who we are, then you don't need to go buy the next greatest pair of shoes unless they look really good on your feet. You don't need to go find the man or the woman that's supposed to fulfill your heart, right? Because all that already resides within you. And when we recognize it and we make it our compass, that all these things are already within me, then we come out of this more powerful, more grounded, more focused in our businesses, but also in our lives. And I think that what we're all probably going to find out is, like I said earlier, it's not like, okay, this is my business and then I go do this on the weekends, or I go have vacation. No, all of it is one, and finding that balance. Thank God for the quarantine, I guess, because we all have to find the balance. If we're working out of our house, we have to go, okay, that's it. I'm closing the computer and I'm going for a walk, or I'm taking a nap, or I'm going to sit in the sunshine, or, you know, do the things we can do that feed our vital being, our health, our mental, emotional, and spiritual beings. You know, for me, it's sitting outside as a new practice for me, watching the clouds roll by. When did I ever take time, except for when I was maybe 5, to sit and watch the clouds without having the agenda, really trying to make myself be present for 5-10 minutes of just looking at the beauty, right? So these are the things that when we become clear on what our moral compass is, then we can become clear on how we want to be when we come out of this quarantine, not just as human beings, but as business leaders and entrepreneurs. And then how do we really want to support each other in this container of the San Diego eWomen chapter, right? And in the larger container of the eWomenNetwork. How do we really want to support each other? Not just by, oh, I know I can network you to here, and I want you to network me to there, right? It's holding the container for all of us. And if we know the truth of our being, because we've developed that moral compass and we're now awake and aware, then when you go back out and you guys are all able to interface in physical time reality, right? Hopefully it'll be coming from a place of grounded in the truth of who you are and how you can love and support each other, and not from a place, this is the old masculine paradigm of what can you do for me? What can you do for, I was in Hollywood for 30 years as an actress. What can you do for me? And that is not the way, I'm telling you guys, that's not the way business is going to grow anymore. It's going to grow from everybody being on the circle and supporting each other. So that's all I got to say about that. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. When you guys come out of quarantine, I already told Arin I'll come down and visit. So thank you.